You know, the situation that's going on with the Seditious Six just really has me bothered. There's something that's not right about that video that they put out. There's something other than the video itself, other than the message that they put out, there's something not right. There's something behind the scenes that is wrong with this. Follow me while I explain this to you.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military,
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay, you got 6 Democrat lawmakers who have military and an intelligence backgrounds, right? They release a video urging troops to, quote unquote, refuse illegal orders. Why? Nobody really knows what particular orders they're talking about. It's a message that is extremely ambiguous and extremely confusing. It's vague, right? But out of these 6 lawmakers, one in particular is the keystone here, Senator Mark Kelly. Okay, today they said that they were going to be investigating the potential of even possibly recalling him into active duty and charging him and forcing him to stand in a court martial. They can do that. We'll explain that here in a second. Okay. But Mark Kelly himself, he's an astronaut. He was a Navy captain. He was an astronaut, and he became a senator. This is a guy who is the embodiment and portrait of a national hero. And he had earned and deserved everything up until this particular point, which makes this extremely confusing. I mean, we know that he's a Democrat, but let's put that aside for a second. This is a man who's a national hero. Okay? National heroes don't go from being national heroes to being someone who calls for sedition for no reason. There's something deeper going on here, and it's more than just his thoughts and his feelings about things. Otherwise, he would have called this out in the Bush administration whenever we were going into Iraq. Okay? There's something not stirring the Kool-Aid, and I can't put my finger on it. All right. First off, they had no coordination. There was no build-up to this. This video blindsided other Democrats as much as it did Republicans, right? Everybody's wondering, where did this come from? What's going on here? The video's so vague. Are we talking about troops that are in the cities, or are we talking about the bombing of Venezuelan gunboats? What exactly are we talking about here, and what exact illegal orders are you talking about? And even any of the Seditious Six cannot point to any law. They claim that they're just reminding the military, just in case, the way things are going. But no, this was a misstep. And Mark Kelly, in particular, can be in some serious, serious trouble over this. You see, Mark Kelly, if he gets recalled into the military and he go under a court-martial, he becomes subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is a set of laws that military people have to abide by. Military people have to abide by local, state, and federal laws just like any other citizen, but they're also held to a higher standard. And certain things are pointed out in the Uniform Code of Military Justice that you can and cannot do. For example, free speech, the way that civilians know it, is not the same as the way that people in the military know. We're held to a higher standard. There are certain things you can and cannot say and can and cannot do. And calling for sedition is one of them, right? There is a problem with this, right? Not only does it violate what's in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, but for the civilians in this matter, it violates 18 U.S. Code 2385, which is a law against sedition, which states that any conspiracies of two or more people who conspire to overthrow or incite the overthrowing or resistance to the government, that's sedition. It's against the law. For civilians, it carries up to 20 years in prison. For military people, it can carry the death penalty. So Mark Kelly could, in effect, not likely, but in effect, he could be recalled, court-martialed, and put to death for releasing that video. And it's all perfectly legal. What is he doing? He shot himself in the foot here, right? What is Kelly going to do? Right? What really pisses me off about this whole thing with Kelly is this is a man who has a hero's legacy, right? And this is a man who embodied discipline, courage, service, loyalty, right? And he turns around and does this potentially politically violent call to action from other military people here, when Mark Kelly should be the very first person to speak up and speak out against any form of political violence. He should be the first person to do this because his wife survived one of the most horrific political violent situations in modern history. A man blew her brains out and she survived, thank God. She survived, and Mark Kelly should be the very first person speaking against any rhetoric that could potentially turn violent. But he hasn't. He hasn't spoken out on the Charlie Kirk assassination. Why not? What is holding Mark Kelly back? Who is pulling Mark Kelly's strings? Right? On the personal side of the situation, right? His silence is a betrayal of his wife's lived trauma. He won't denounce it. He won't denounce political violence. Right? To voters, it looks like hypocrisy. And it is. A man whose family was scarred by political violence can't even stand up and speak out against it and then potentially calls for it. This is a narrative collapse. And it's not just a misstep. These 6 senators are too smart and too well trained to make that kind of misstep. Something is wrong here. Somebody is pulling a string. I don't know who. I don't have the resources necessarily to investigate who, but we're going to keep trying to look into it. Right? The only thing that can reasonably happen here from this point forward is Mark Kelly needs to vacate his seat at the very minimum. If he gets pulled into a court-martial, or if he faces civilian sedition charges, he's going to be a hindrance to his party. He's going to be a hindrance to the Senate. He's going to be a hindrance to his wife. He's going to be a hindrance to his family and to the American public and the people of Arizona. He needs to vacate his seat. If he vacates his seat, that'll put pressure on the other 5 to vacate their seats as well. And they should. They're military and intelligence operatives. They told you so themselves in the video. Right? They all need to step down. And for Mark Kelly, I'm not sure where this is going to go. But there's something wrong here. American heroes do not fall this far for political purposes. They do not fall this far just because there's political rhetoric out there. Something's wrong. Somebody is pulling a string on Mark Kelly. Who? Let's find out. Anyway, thanks for listening. You're listening to Uncle Sam Saves America. I'm Uncle Sam.